Welcome to the My Career podcast, and I would like to welcome Emily Bartley and her mum Sue Bartley, who are going to speak to us today about Emily's apprenticeship pathway, and also to speak to Sue and ask her from a parent perspective how she felt when Emily decided to pursue that pathway. So welcome Emily, welcome Sue. Emily, you are a digital marketing executive at Tide 55 in Andover.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I was at Alton, I studied sociology, English language and art and design, which kind of shows you that I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do with my career, because I picked, very varied A-levels.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew that I wanted to do something creative. That was kind of the main reason, I thought art and design, I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I thought a career that kind of was in that creative element would be a really cool way to go down.
Okay.
Yes, I think when I was at college, I knew I didn't want to do university. And I think for me, I was an academic person, but the thought of doing even more exams, I just really didn't like the thought of that. I thought, actually, I just want to get out there and start working and earning money and just getting, those really practical skills and to kind of progress in my career. Yeah. So I kind of knew, a lot of my friends wanted to go to uni, and I thought, should I follow them? But I thought, actually, no, I need to do what's right for me and kind of explore different routes that were out there.
And Sue, how did you feel about Emily's thought process and the path that she wanted to choose?
Well, because I knew she really didn't want to go to uni.
Yeah.
And because I'm in education myself, I know that there's different routes for different people. And I was really keen for her to do the apprenticeship route. I thought that was a really good route into a fulfilling career.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what was the apprenticeship that you undertook? And so this was at Basingstoke Council, wasn't it? So what was the title of the apprenticeship? What level was it?
So it was in the economy and culture team at Basingstoke and Dean Council. Yeah. And I had the choice of either doing a business admin apprenticeship or a social media apprenticeship. And that really stood out to me because I thought, this is quite an interesting choice. Usually you don't get that with an apprenticeship. It's just kind of like, this is the qualification you're doing. This is the sort of role you're doing. Yeah. So I kind of went for the interview and they kind of said, what preference do you have? And I said, actually, social media would be really interesting because I thought that brings in the creative element that I've been looking for.
Yes, definitely.
Because again, I didn't still know exactly what I wanted to do with my career, but I knew, bringing in something like that would be really cool. So once I kind of got the job, I kind of settled in. They said, right, you can make your decision. I said, yeah, definitely the social media one. And I thought, it's a bit different to the business admin one. Yeah. And that was linked up with Beacott College. Okay. So I had an assessor come out once a week and kind of just went through kind of different learning areas. Then I went off, did my own research and kind of implemented what I was learning into the council. Yeah. And then every month I had an exam, which was really nice. It wasn't it was not like a written exam. It's kind of like you did it on computer. Okay. It might have been a conversational one. Okay. So it was, a very different experience. But for me, it wasn't like I was sat there writing essays, which is, what I didn't want to do with university and stuff like that. So it was definitely a good experience. Yeah. And I actually ended up finishing the social media qualification 6 months early.
Wow.
So for me, it was a really good kind of introduction to what apprenticeships could really, really be like.
Yeah. And to finish the sort of what would have been, say, an 18-month apprenticeship, you're level 3 within the year. So then what happened? Were you worried that you thought, well, what next? Or
yeah, so you always have that worry. You're like, will they employ me full time? Is this kind of the end of my time at the council? And then my manager turned to me and said, we'd love to offer you the opportunity to do a degree apprenticeship. And I was like, oh my gosh, it wasn't something I was expecting at all. Yeah. And they said, it would be in digital marketing because they knew that's the area that I'd really, got a passion for. Yeah. And then they let me choose which uni I wanted to do it at. So I went for Solent University because I thought it's still nice and local. Yes. But it'd be just fun to kind of get out and kind of explore that area and see what I can learn doing a degree apprenticeship.
So it's that scenario where the council paid for your degree, you were being paid at the same time, and you were given the time to go to Solent and to do the studying, the qualification element of the degree. Yeah. Which is an amazing mix. And I'm sure, again, as Paul sort of bringing you in here, so you must have thought, wow, this is great.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic because Emily was obviously earning money whilst doing the degree as well.
Yes.
And you sort of had the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
But it was hard work.
Okay,
You know,
let's talk about that, the work element, because
Yeah.
it's easy to kind of go, oh, that's lovely, isn't
Mm-hmm.
it? But what was your work study split? How, you know, like how often did you have to go to university? Can you give us a bit of an idea of how that worked?
Yeah, so university was 1 day a week.
Okay.
So we went in every Thursday,
Mhm.
and it ended up just being 4 apprentices. So it was a very small class.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting because they all worked, you know, for big corporations.
Oh,
So
did
we
they?
all kind of had loads of different examples, you know, when we were getting taught,
Yeah.
that we could kind of, bring back to organisations. It was great because, you know, we were learning a lot of different kind of areas, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
And kind of every exam we had to do, we could use examples from our workplace. So
Yeah.
that kind of tied in the whole apprenticeship element.
Mm.
And that almost made it not easier, but because I had that experience and I was physically doing the tasks that I
Yeah.
was learning, it made it a lot easier to kind of write essays, because I was like, oh, well, I do this already. So I can, you know, just input that into the essays. The experience is so important. And for me, it allowed me to, put everything into context and really understand, you know, the whole digital marketing world. So I think it was a perfect route for me. But obviously, you know, I originally was like, I never want to do uni.
Yeah.
So it was still a big leap going from
Was
a
it?
level 3 to a level kind of 4 to 6. It was quite a change. But, you know, it was hard, but, you know, I kind of got through it and, and graduated.
Yeah.
So,
And graduation must have been a proud day.
That was very,
it was
very
amazing.
proud moment.
Yeah.
Very proud indeed.
What was the degree that you achieved?
So it was a first class honours in digital marketing, and I got a first. So so that was
Whoa.
really exciting.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it was just, once, you know, you've put so much effort into it, especially the dissertation, we still had to do that.
Yes.
And it was just an amazing feeling to get that result.
Yeah, I'm sure. I can imagine, and imagine how proud you all are for your achievement. And so then you've got your degree, and you're still working at the council in Basingstoke. And and then what?
Yeah, so I was kind of looking around and was like, oh, you know, is there any job opportunities at the council? Because I really enjoyed it there. You know, it was such a lovely team. We definitely worked in a really fun department. Okay. So I would have absolutely happily stayed there. But unfortunately, there just wasn't kind of the right role for me. There wasn't, like, you know, different departments, but I knew marketing was now the career that I wanted to go down. So I kind of started looking elsewhere. And I thought, you know what, let's jump on LinkedIn, because I know it can be a really great tool.
Yeah.
So I just started posting more and kind of starting dropping hints that I was, you know, going to start looking for jobs soon.
Yeah.
And that's when I got approached by Tide 55. So the CEO reached out to me and kind of said, oh, we'd love to, you know, have a chat. And kind of, we've seen what you've been doing on LinkedIn, and, you know, we're really interested in talking to you.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, okay, you know, LinkedIn is actually, you know, it's worked.
Yeah, that's a great example. So then what happened?
So I went in for a informal chat.
Yes.
It ended up being kind of me actually asking the questions to them. So I was like, oh, okay, this is a bit of a switch up.
Yeah.
And the interview went really well. And they kind of rang me a few days later and were like, oh, you know, we'd love you to kind of do a task for us. And I was like, okay. I'd never done that kind of element of an interview before. So I kind of, you know, really prepared for it. I did the task, and then they're like, yeah, we'll contact you, you know, next week. And I actually got a call the next day to say, yeah, we'd love to have you if you'll work with us. So I was, you know, an absolute shock. I thought, you know, there's no way. I didn't expect to get a job that quickly, you know, after leaving the council. So I was, really, really happy to have something, you know, lined up for kind of once I'd officially finished at the council. For me, I found it really beneficial that I had, you know, 4.5 years at the council, because I had so much to say about, you know, what I've physically already done. So that was really, really helpful in the interview process.
Yeah, fantastic. And so, Sue, from your perspective, what would you say to parents who are a bit unsure?
Well, I think you've got to look at all different avenues to find what is the best for your child.
Yes.
What suits them the best,
their
skills, their personality.
Yeah.
And certainly for us as parents, Emily going down the apprenticeship route was the exact right route for her.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be where she is now if she hadn't taken that pathway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's worth, you know, really looking at apprenticeships, because it's a way of succeeding. whilst still being at home.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's a really good way of developing self-belief and self-confidence.
Yes. Yeah. And obviously as well, like Emily, you've been earning money all the time. You've been working in your apprenticeship and you haven't accrued the debt that young people will sort of have by the time they finish their degree. So from a financial perspective, that's been a real kind of positive as well, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because I know, apprenticeships can have that bad stigma, you're not paid very well, but actually you are still learning on the job. So, you're not naturally going to be on that top wage until once you've got that qualification. So I always knew, that was a slight risk. But at the same time, I was like, well, I'm getting paid to do a degree. No one really gets that, do they? Unless they do a degree apprenticeship. So for me, I found it, a really amazing opportunity. I'd say don't follow the crowd. Don't follow your friends, because at the end of the day, it's your career, it's your life. Do exactly what you want to do. Explore different options. You may try uni and think, actually, it's not for me. Why not try an apprenticeship? Just go for it.
I think that's amazing advice, and it's been really inspiring, I think, to hear your story, to hear from your perspective as well. So and really thank you for coming in and sharing that with us today. Thank you both.
Great, thank you.